Yo, this is Hidrux. I'm going to be playing some Shadowrun for the SNES, Super Nintendo. And as promised, today I'll be looking at the debug room. And a couple other things that I've noticed in the wiki talks about. I'll be talking about some of the differences and stuff. So starting with the debug room here. Switch to that screen right quick. I have the Game Genie in. There's another way to do it. It just looks a little more complicated. Like I have to see the hex address equal 1 or something. Or I can just use the really fast driving car outside. You can just use the Pro Action Replay code, and that will allow me to jump into the debug room. So the debug room itself says, when you open it, you're warped to the debug room. This room can now be accessed at any point in the game via the matchbox. On the ground next to you is the dog food item, previously to have been gone unused, which grants invincibility. Invincibility? Okay. The doors teleport you to various chapters in the game, apparently defined as periods between when irrelevant keywords are dropped from your keyword list. And you can talk to the waitress standing next to them for money and karma relative to that point in the game. So yeah, the waitress at that point, she'll give me sort of where I want to be in stats. Right on the bottom screen is an invisible exit to return you to the location you warp from. And then there's another one that says Winter CES Warp. It's got a couple hex. I'm not sure if these are codes or hex. And it'll display the text Winter CES 93 Las Vegas Warp at the top of the screen and warps you to the debug room, similar to the Open Max box. This doesn't seem to be a pointer that leads to it. There's a crash handler. And there's some unused graphics, so the boy in the car yard has walking sprites that aren't used as he only plays his YOLO animation and never moves around the game. The car sprite has 4 different palettes, and this one doesn't seem to be used anywhere. So it looks like the silver one, and I'm not sure if I've ever seen that one. There's that one at the beginning of the game, right? If you wait around long enough, it drives by. So I don't know. Unused characters. These unused character sprites can be placed in-game, revealing their respective name. So we have one that says Gorgax, and a heavy orc that's a whole orc. Gorgax is an orc. Heavy orc is an orc. It's got a little bit yellow. Slick dude, he's like got some blue on him. I'm not sure what he's supposed to look like here. It looks like he's standing facing away from the camera. And there's a wolf, which kind of looks like a little wolf guy. Unused item, mobile phone. So I talked about this in the stream or the sessions already. A portable phone found in the debug room of the North American prototype. Is no longer there in the final version, but can still be accessed with Pro Action Replay. And of course, the portable phone allows you to use the phone anywhere without having to use your cred stick. So regional differences, we have US, Japan, Europe, and then it's just the copyright screen looks a little different. Shadowrun and the Matrix are registered trademarks of FasaCorp, used under license by Data East in association with Laserbeam. Okay, so that's Europe. Japan says Shadowrun and Matrix, registered FASA. And then the American, the one I think I'm pretty much playing, Shadowrun and Matrix with trademark. Okay, so yeah, there's just like sort of text differences. Looks like US has an earlier copyright. And then sort of the opening screen with Beamsoft doesn't actually have Beamsoft in Europe. It says Laserbeam. So that must be like the studio, right, that made the game. So Japanese version, opening sequence. One interesting thing to notice in the Japanese version is that the opening text crawl is much different, much longer, and like the rest of the text still in English, but with Japanese subtitles. There is also a small difference in the way the opening cinematic, in which Jake is shot in the street, is presented. In the Japanese version, you see it each time you start a new game. In the English version, you have to wait around at the title screen for a few seconds to see it. Otherwise, you get taken directly to the morgue when you start a new game. Okay, title screen. In the Japanese version, the title logo is much bigger. In the Western version, the title logo is much smaller, and it shows the main menu right there. So it looks like you have to push start in the Japanese version to get the main menu. Main menu. In the Japanese version, you have to press a button on the title screen to go to the main menu. The Japanese version lacks the controls options in the other versions have. Controls. Button placements have been modified and the R and L button shortcuts have been removed, really. The debug room. The matchbox cheat sequence is missing from the Japanese version, but the debug room itself is still present. Ending. This is interesting. When you destroy the AI computer at the top of the Ankai building, a polygon head appears atop of the mainframe and screams in pain before disappearing. Cool. After the detonation sequence, Jake comments that he must stop Aniki, and when facing Aniki, Jake will comment that Aniki will not get away. In the Western versions, the only message comes from the game and enemies. Yeah, that's true, because Jake never says anything. No, he says, "Oh, my head." That's what he says, right? I think that's the only thing he ever says. In the Western versions, you would normally see credits during the helicopter escape scene. In the Japanese version, no credits are shown. During the epilogue, Jake is shown revisiting some of the characters and enemies as he encounters throughout the game. In the Western version, each character has something to say. In the Japanese version, there is no text. Not even Dragon's famous "We'll meet again" on Shadowrun 2 comment. After the epilogue, 2 sets of credits are shown. The first set is in the Western version, except it only shows a city backdrop and not the inside of the helicopter. The second set of credits comes after the morgue scene where the game thanks you for playing. It shows credits in Japanese. European version, Dark Blade's Weapon Shop. In the North American and European English versions, the Bulletproof Vest Defense 3 in the Dark Blade's Weapon Shop is initially to be out of stock when starting a new game and becomes available. There's no known way to obtain it through normal gameplay. However, you can use Pro Action Replay code to make it appear when you enter the shop. In the German, Japanese, and Swedish version, it's available on your first visit. It's not clear if this was a bug fix or if English version had a hidden trigger that was too obscure and changed for later non-English releases. Additional notes. So what was missing? The bulletproof vest. I didn't even notice, because I wasn't really looking for the bulletproof vest. Okay, so let's get into this debug room and sort of step around a little bit here. Alright, so it should be loading. I'll even let the intro play for this one. Alright, that's all I'm going to cover. As far as the cutscene, whoever wants to play it has to go watch it themselves. Muha. I'm not going to cover 100%. He said, okay, let's go. We could just start from a save game, I guess. Yeah? And all I really need is that matchbox. So, jump into the menu here, and then we're going to go matchbox, if ever I can find it. There it is. So it says to open the matchbox. Alright. Would have really liked some better music. How do I exit? I'm gonna exit here and get some better music. Here, this last one, I think. Simon? No! There we go. Okay. So, let's head out here. Then, that's a bit better music. Just because I didn't want like that, you know, say more intense music, more dramatic music. Okay, so let's go wander around in here. And use the dog food. Invincibility cheat. So apparently talking to these women just sort of gets you in the right place. And oh, I see. So heading down too far, I think, kicks you out. $160,000. That's crazy. Oh, because I got that cheat, right? So let's do the matchbox here, and I'll just sort of step through the events here. Nothing else but the dog food. I'm not sure if I'm still invincible here. This is just a bid, which I can use, but I don't want to save here. It'll ruin my game if I do. Yeah, 149 crap. No thanks. Don't need that much karma. Okay, so let's start out here. See where we pop out. 4 hours, 5,000 bucks, 20 karma. We just pop out of the bed. I got everybody with me. Not really sure where to go. I'll just eliminate this guy one round. So normally it says in order to do the matchbox, you have to be here. Up here in the flickering light here. And then it's supposed to change the matchbox after you examine it 4 times. Let's go pick a fight and... never mind. Let's just jump into the matchbox here. This is not a lot going on. I thought there was like some little bit more dialogue here, but I guess not. Interesting. So where are like, where's the keywords at? Okay, so it's pretty much already done, right? Like it doesn't actually jump me to that part of the game. Just move through them. Just to show off the debug room, I guess. Came this far. 16 hours. I thought I'd be spending a little more time in here, but it's not. It's the hotel. Yeah, it doesn't actually snap me to that part of the game. So if I was coming like from the beginning, if I did start at the beginning, there wouldn't be a whole lot going on, right? One thing I didn't include in the game, the original run here, was this. Her summon spirit. I just want to see. Yeah, it's a fox. Okay. 23. Brutal. Okay, so I'm just gonna head back into the matchbox here. I gotta remember to use my triggers. Okay, so I'm on 4, I think, right? Just getting a bunch of cash. Yeah, it's just accumulating, right? So not a lot of difference. It just keeps taking me back to certain areas with different amounts. There's not any like story triggers. And I forgot to use my bumper again. 5, no. Doesn't even say sub 5. Maybe it wasn't part of the game, right? Where's it gonna take, you know? Okay, the boat. And again, there's nothing, no triggers are flipped or anything. It's just taking me places. Just interesting, it wouldn't really make it a debug room if you didn't really have the triggers. Like, how are you supposed to test things in the beginning of the game, really? I guess maybe I can slip by here. This last door. Okay, and then there's just the Anarchy building. It doesn't even give me like access to the upper levels or anything. So that's it for the debug room, just something to look at, and of course I wanted to talk about the differences, and that's all. I would kind of expect a little more, maybe some conversation or something, but no, not really. Did I get them all? Pretty sure I did, right? No, okay, so here's the volcano. Just missed this one. So I mean, if you had the matchbox, you could, you know, this cheat on, you could get out of the volcano. Sort of a warp back. And you could always visit the volcano again, right? So that's sort of a way out instead of having to warp around. Of course, the last one is the last one, the dog food. That's it, that's all. So yeah. I'd love to see sort of like a ROM hack for this where it kind of extends the game. Does she say anything? She just gives more stuff. And then this is sort of the way out, right? Spot around here. Warps me back. What about this switch? There's a switch here. No? Adios, yeah. It just takes me back. Alright, so that's it. I guess I'll probably be playing Shadowrun again some other time, but as far as this playthrough, that's it, that's all. So thanks for watching that short little blurb about some of the background stuff and regional differences and the debug room. As I said, I thought there was more there, but I guess not. Until next time.